UFC Vegas 54. These are the full card predictions and the betting breakdown. Main event, Aleksandar Rakic versus Jan Błachowicz. Big fight in the light heavyweight division. We're going to go through each fight on the card. Make sure you guys smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Turn those post notifications on and share the video as well. And let's jump into fight number one here between Nick Maximov and Andrea Petroski. I think that Nick Maximov is going to win. He had a pretty good performance against Punale Soriano in the last one. He didn't look amazing, but Soriano's a really dangerous puncher with a wrestling base. Andrea Petroski is a raw striker. He throws a lot of winging overhands, looping hooks. He tries to put 100% power into his shots. More of a wrestler. His striking isn't really at the top par. Granted, Maximov's not a great striker either. He's a little bit square, but does work okay straights, and then we'll look to time takedowns from there. Petroski's going to have some wrestling defense, but the thing that I love about Maximov is he's relentless with shooting. He's really comfortable anywhere on the ground. Very good grappling skill set. He's a Nick Diaz Army guy. I think we're going to see Maximov with the win. I think Petroski's going to gas in the second, and I feel like we're going to see Maximov by submission. Could even see Petroski gassing in the third, and then Maximov winning there. I still see Maximov victory by submission. Kind of feeling rear naked choke, but that's like a real Mystic Mac call. I just think the relentless pressure from Maximov seems to have an okay chin. I don't think Petroski's going to have the skills for him, and I think Maximov with the win here, overwhelming Petroski and stopping him in the second or third. Minus 300 is Nick Maximov as the favorite. It's not close. Plus 330 for Andrea Petroski as the underdog. I like Maximov. He's a strong favorite, and I really believe he gets it done. Confident pick on Nick Maximov here. Next fight of the night, Carlos Candelario and Tatsuro Taira. We finally get to see it. It was rebooked from a couple weeks ago. I'm high on the Japanese prospect Taira. I picked him a few weeks back, still picking him now. I think he's going to get the win over Carlos Candelario. As far as method of victory, leaning towards that submission side. Could go a bit longer, a little extra training camp for Candelario to prepare for these just Japanese prospect. I feel like Taira is an interesting guy to keep an eye on for the future. Still very young, only 22. Candelario's a game 8-1 fighter. I'm going Taira for the win, though. I feel like he's going to get it done with decent kickboxing. He's pretty quick standing, also has a competent ground game. I do think there'll be points where maybe even Candelario wants to shoot, and I feel like Taira could definitely take advantage of those spots. Candelario is a southpaw. That could be an X factor that maybe could get to Taira, but I don't think so. I think we're going to see Tatsuro Taira with the win. I like the hype on the side, I guess you could say. Minus 225 for Taira, but I do think he's got the skills to back up the hype, really. And then Candelario plus 206 as the dog. I'm going to ride with Tatsuro Taira for the win. I'll pick him by submission in the second round. I'm interested to see what Candelario can bring to the table here because Taira looks like a really good prospect. I like the skill set everywhere. I really like the top control. The kickboxing is good. At flyweight, he seems like a guy that could be a problem. At 22 being 10-0, I feel like the ceiling's high here. I'm going Taira win submission. Next fight of the night, Virna Jandiroba versus Angela Hill. I gotta go the side of Virna, but I really would love to pick Angela Hill. She's an underdog. She's a game fighter, has been in there with the best of the best, but I just think Virna's going to relentlessly press, trying to grapple. Angela Hill is clearly the better striker, and she's definitely faster than Virna. Problem is, Angela Overkill Hill doesn't pack power. She does not sting much with her punches. She's a volume girl. She needs to land a lot of them to do damage. Virna doesn't come off as chinny to me, but if there was some Andrade power on the other side, I think Virna would be in a bit of trouble with Angela Hill's skill set. But there's a reason Angela has lost to the upper echelon. She needs a lot of volume. She needs the fight going her way for majority of it. Virna's more dangerous on the floor by a long shot. She's the better wrestler of the two, 100%. I think that Virna can work really well against the cage. Angela's going to be pressed up there and get frustrated. I think Virna's going to get it done. I'm going to say Angela Hill's toughness keeps her in the fight and she goes distance, but I'm going Virna, Jandiroba win by decision here, and I think unanimous. Could be 30-27. Wouldn't be surprised at 29-28, but I more so think Virna's going to relentlessly press. Angela's going to be trying to use the Muay Thai from range. It's going to work a bit, but there's going to be no power to keep Virna away. Odds, -150, Virna Jandiroba, Angela Hill, +142 as the dog. I got Virna with the W, win by decision over Angela Hill. Should be an interesting fight. Clash of styles. And let's be honest, Virna's striking is coming along. She's definitely getting better. I like the way she'll switch the stances up. She has an awkward flow to her that I think is going to lead to a lot of success in this matchup with Angela Hill. Next fight of the night, Michael Johnson versus Alan Patrick. I'm going to pick Michael Johnson. Yes, he's on a 4-fight losing streak. He's Mr. Inconsistent, but when Michael Johnson is at his best, he's extremely good. I've been following Michael Johnson since The Ultimate Fighter when he fought Jonathan Brookins. I remember that fight. I remember him fighting Caceres on the season. It was GSP versus Koscheck. Michael Johnson has always shown really good promise. His striking is great. Mental lapses definitely seem to have come to him in several fights. Gets caught. Something just doesn't always click. He's matched up against Alan Patrick, who's a wild fighter. Someone that I think Michael Johnson can counter and knock out. I think Michael Johnson's boxing's going to get him the win. I think he's going to get the KO. Interesting too, southpaw versus southpaw. I think that could be advantageous for Michael Johnson. I feel like he's going to land some good combination punches on Patrick. Patrick, a little bit of a wild fighter. Like his whole game is based on extreme explosiveness and aggression, leaving himself open, sometimes out of range attacks, spinning back fist. Just definitely reckless. A bit of recklessness from Patrick. Granted, he's been successful. I mean, he's 15-3. His record's solid, but Michael Johnson has been around 19-17. Awful record. If he loses this, he'll near 500 at 19-18. Michael Johnson is so much better than what he's shown. I'm going Michael Johnson by knockout. I think he does it in the first or the second rounds here, and I think he gets that 20. 20-17 is a lot better than 19-18, and I think Johnson is going to get that 20th win. This is the one to do it, and he snaps this 4-fight losing streak. Probably keeps fighting too. I mean, when Michael Johnson was at his best, beat Edson Barboza, beat Tony Ferguson, beat Dustin Poirier. He has beaten a who's who. It's just when his game's not on, it's been a rough past 4. I guess I have to bring up the past 4. Josh Emmett slept him in a fight he was winning. Stevie Ray loses a decision. Thiago Moises winning, gets submitted. Clay Guida beats him, grinding wrestler, high pressure. Johnson mentally seemed to break a little bit there. If Johnson is on his game, he can win this fight. I believe he's going to be. I feel like he's coming here to fight. I feel like I don't know why. I have a feeling we're getting the Michael Johnson that gets the win. The menace. We haven't been getting the menace lately. We're getting Michael the Menace Johnson win by knockout over Alan Patrick. As far as the odds, Johnson's slight favorite, -123. Alan Patrick, +120. Patrick's not a young guy either at 38 years of age, and he's on a 3-fight losing streak. Technically speaking, he didn't lose the last one to Mason Jones, but he was on his way to losing. You see the losses there, Bobby Green, Mason Jones, then before that, Scott Holtzman TKOs him. And not like he's fighting often. I'm going win Michael Johnson in impressive fashion. Let's keep running through the card here. Good one. So good. So good. Next fight of the night. Viviane Araujo versus Andrea KGB Lee. Excited to see these two throw down. This is a pretty good women's matchup here between strikers. I like the Araujo side. I think the Muay Thai is definitely superior. You look at Andrea, she's always doing that Haya with every shot. Honestly, I'm not a huge fan of hearing that Hoya, but you know what? That doesn't matter. That's not the skill set. Andrea Lee is decent with the stand-up. I would say she has competent Muay Thai, multi-shot combos, but doesn't pack a big punch. Araujo's not like a one-shot knockout artist, but I think she's got better pressure. I think she's more explosive, and I think she can do more significant damage than Andrea Lee can. Honestly, a big difference maker too is I think Araujo can land takedowns on Andrea Lee, whereas I don't see Andrea Lee taking Viviane Araujo down. I think Araujo getting the win. I'm feeling decision in this fight. As far as the line, Plus money, plus 101 for Viviane Araujo. Andrea Lee, minus 112. I like Araujo for the win. I see her getting it done over Andrea KGB Lee, who's on a 2-fight win streak. But I mean, Araujo just lost to Katlyn Chookagian, who's like the #1 contender champion. She just holds that #1 contender spot and defends it against the majority. Andrea Lee, I don't think can turn that corner and get towards like that real contendership. So win for Viviane Araujo in this matchup. Let's keep running up. Next fight of the night brings us to the main card. If you guys haven't yet, make sure to smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. It's Jake Hadley versus Allan Nascimento. I like the Jake Hadley side, but it's not an easy fight against Allan Nascimento, who's a tricky grappler. You look at Nascimento's game, very dangerous from the back, threw up multiple submission attempts against Tagir Ulanbekov. Granted, was getting taken down there. You look back in his history and you watch him fighting in Ryzen. He's an okay striker. He's more of an upright Muay Thai style kickboxer, brings in decent low kicks, but what I don't like is there's not a lot of head movement. Jake Hadley is a pressure kickboxer who fights out of the southpaw stance that strings combos together well. I'd call him pretty smooth on the feet. Has a very good bottom game. He was taken down against Mitch Raposo on the Contender Series, and he looked dangerous from the bottom. He was throwing up submission attempts, even went for the Omoplata position there. Jake Hadley's good on the floor. He's got takedowns in his arsenal too offensively, and from top he's dangerous. If he gets your back, he's an animal. Majority of the sub wins for him. He's winning them by submission, rear naked choke. He's very dangerous with that rear naked choke. Nascimento very dangerous on the ground in general. So I see Hadley choosing to strike here. I feel like he's the better striker of the two. I think he's going to put a high pace on Nascimento. Granted, look at Nascimento's losses. He's losing majority by split decision. I mean, you look at the last three, right? Loss in Ryzen, split decision. Loss against Paiva, split decision. Loss against Ulanbekov, split decision. Now, not a ton of fights over years, 5 fights in the past 3.5 years. Jake Hadley, to me, is going to get it done. He's going to have more volume. He's going to be the better striker of the two. If it goes to the floor, I feel like the grappling games can kind of cancel one another out. But offensively with the wrestling, Hadley's better, but I wouldn't recommend him to play around on the ground too much. I respect Nascimento's jiu-jitsu a ton. Hadley win decision in this fight. As far as the lines, Hadley is minus 200. Allan Nascimento plus 180 as the dog. I like the favorite Jake Hadley here, but it's a hard fight for sure. I see him winning a decision. Next one is Frank Camacho versus Manuel Torres. I'm going to be going with Frank Camacho. I know he hasn't looked good. Bad loss to Justin James. Prior to that, took a loss. It was against Dariush, who's now top contender. There's a win in between his losses over Nick Hine, and then you look back, Jeff Neal, Drew Dober. Frank Camacho's still a powerful striker. He does have serious impact when he lands. Manuel Torres is a bit reckless, a bit too reckless for me. Seems like a very raw talent. Standing up, he'll come with a lot of aggression, but the chin is up a bit high. He's a tall kickboxer, more of an upright stance. He's not a super tall guy, but he does have just a wide and thin and like a long frame, really. Reach is near identical here, height's the same. I feel like Frank Camacho can find the chin of Torres. When I see Torres fight, I see a little bit of chaos, but also a little bit of rawness, like that wild rawness that isn't even Alan Patrick-like. It's not to that tier of chaos. It's almost like lacking technical consistency, really. I mean, overhands from way out of range, throwing reckless shots that put him out of position. Frank Camacho is a guy that can make you pay. He's been out for a while. His last loss against Justin James was horrible, and let's be honest, Justin James is a UFC washout. He's no longer with the organization, but that doesn't mean Frank Camacho's a bad fighter. He got caught bad in that fight against a guy that can hit with a bit of pop who came in on short notice. I think Frank Camacho wins as a dog. I think he can beat the raw talent Manuel Torres, and I am going to go by KO. I'm thinking second round knockout, Frank Camacho. Camacho's the underdog, plus 133. Torres, minus 147 as the favorite. I think this is going to be a violent fight that ends inside of the distance, and this might be the fight of the night. This is definitely the sleeper fight of the night. Super excited for this matchup. I'm going with Frank Camacho over Manuel Torres, the prospect. Next one, the ladies going after it here. Katlyn Chookagian, who holds on to that number 1 contender spot, maybe
gets a title shot again with the win. She fights Amanda Ribas, who's jumping up from 115. I'm picking Katlyn Chookagian to win. I think it's a mistake for Ribas to move up and fight Katlyn Chookagian. If she could have fought another matchup, somebody that she matches up a lot better stylistically with, I think it's a great move, because maybe you fight for the belt at 125, because she's real close to it. If she somehow beats Katlyn Chookagian, I won't be surprised if Amanda Ribas is in the title talk. But Katlyn Chookagian's extremely good from range. She's so tall, 5'9 to 5'3", not a huge reach edge. Chookagian only with the 68-inch reach, Ribas with the 66, but Chookagian's dangerous from distance. Very physically strong girl. She's bigger than pretty much every woman at women's flyweight. Has a pretty good front kick. Granted, Ribas might look to catch it and take it to the floor. On the mat, Ribas has very good Brazilian jiu-jitsu. But I think Katlyn Chookagian can stifle the game. If she is on top, Katlyn Chookagian is not an easy girl to deal with. Took down Jennifer Maia, who's very good with her jiu-jitsu. And I think the strength difference is going to be a factor. Ribas moving up in weight, I think, is going to lose that grappling strength that she had against these girls at 115. Ribas is a problem at strawweight. At 125 pounds, especially against the biggest girl there, I think Katlyn Chookagian's too much for her. I think Chookagian win by a decision. She's definitely the better striker. I think maybe even the better wrestler is Chookagian. Ribas, better pure jiu-jitsu, but the size and physical strength is an ultimate difference maker for me. Katlyn Chookagian for the win. As far as the line, minus 142 for Chookagian. Ribas plus 132 as the underdog. I'm riding with Katlyn Chookagian for the win. I'm going to go unanimous decision. It's kind of how Chookagian wins. All decisions normally. I think she gets it done here against Ribas, who also doesn't pose a striking threat with power. I would be shocked, actually, to see Ribas win by KO. Katlyn Chookagian win, unanimous decision. Our featured bout of the night, Luis Smolka and Davey Grant. Davey Grant's so fun to watch. I'm picking him to win this fight, and I think he's going to beat up Luis Smolka. I actually think they're giving Smolka a really bad matchup here. I know Davey Grant's coming off losses, but it's a split against Adrian Yanez, the hottest prospect at 135. And it's a loss to Marlon Vera, the most dangerous fighter, the most violent fighter, maybe at 135, period. Davey Grant's going to win by knockout. I think he's going to sleep Smolka in the first round. Vince Morales just slept Smolka badly in the last one. Smolka's not chinny, but he's so hittable. That head is just there on the center line to be hit. Very square Thai stance. I see Grant's boxing being on display here, and I see him getting a pretty impressive knockout win, actually, over Luis Smolka. Smolka does have good submissions. He's got a solid jiu-jitsu game, but doesn't bring a high-level wrestling base. Definitely not high enough level for my liking to take down Davey Grant and control him. I see Grant, even if takedown attempts are thrown his way by Smolka, I don't see him getting on top of Grant. And if he does get him down, I don't think it'll be for long. I'd be kind of surprised if he does. Grant is a guy who's willing to eat one to land one. I think he's going to be pressing Smolka from the start, and I think he smokes him here. First round knockout, Davey Grant, and what I think is actually a big mismatch. As far as the lines, Smolka is the dog at plus 231. Grant, a strong favorite at minus 254. I have him winning by first round knockout over Luis Smolka. Great fight. So excited for Davey Grant. I'm definitely a fan of Davey. Co-main event of the evening. It's Ryan Spann versus Ion Cutelaba. I gotta pick the Cutelaba side. Ryan Spann is just way too breakable, and he's been knocked out too many times. Cutelaba doesn't really have quit in him. He's a relentless fighter, constant pressure, wild hook attack. Spann is good from range, and if he can land the sniper and get the knockout, that's kind of the only way. I think Cutelaba is going to be constantly pressing him. He's going to get Spann into a bit of a brawl. He's going to land an overhand shot, put Spann down, and then from there, it's either submission or TKO, ground and pound. Spann gets put down. He turtles up. I see Cutelaba as a relentless guy that's going to be too much for him. Now, the range is a factor here. Spann is long, 6'5 to 6'1, 81.5-inch reach for Spann to 75. From distance, Spann has a clear advantage. His straight punches are solid. But I see the shorter Cutelaba clinching up with him, forcing him against the cage, making this a dirty, grimy, grinding fight, and I see him landing big shots. I think Cutelaba, especially against the cage, is a huge edge. I'm going Cutelaba by first or second round KO. I think he's going to beat Ryan Spann. I think the takedowns might be a factor as well. I could see Cutelaba unloading some vicious ground and pound. When he gets going from top position, he is horrifying to deal with, and I think Spann is in serious trouble here against Ion. Cutelaba win. I'm I'm going to go by knockout. Too much of a question mark around the chin of Spann. And just overall, if you hit him hard, he tends to fold. And I think Cutelaba is going to fold him here. As far as the line, Spann is a big dog, plus 180. Cutelaba, the minus 200 favorite. I like Cutelaba for the win. I'm going by knockout in the first or second round here. I think it's going to be a violent fight. And I think Cutelaba on the inside does great work. Main event of the evening. If you guys haven't yet, make sure to smash the like button and subscribe if you're new. It's Jan Blachowicz versus Aleksandar Rakić. I am going to pick the Aleksandar Rakić side. You know, even going back and rewatching the Volkan Oezdemir fight, I see how they gave it to Volkan on the split decision. Definitely super competitive and close, but the leg was destroyed from Rakić. But strangely, I take that as a positive. That fight had a crowd. This fight will not. You look at Rakic's performances at the UFC Apex. You don't see that same chaos and fast start that he used to kind of bring, which is just absolute madness early. Granted, we'll bring it a little bit, but I don't think to the same extreme here, especially against Jan Blachowicz. You can see Rakic at more of a managed pace. You know, he has 5 rounds. If he sees opportunities to explode, he definitely will. The low kicks of Blachowicz, very low likelihood he's going to swell up the leg like Volkan did, which will limit the explosiveness of Rakic throughout. Rakic controls distance well, but he also enters and exits range very fast. Jan Blachowicz, more of the plodding kickboxer. Even when you look at the Adesanya fight, he was having a really hard time on the feet, closing distance. Adesanya did great work from distance. If Jan gets in close, very dangerous with the hooks. But Rakic can mix it up with the boxing too. He's actually very good with the hands. He's definitely the quicker guy of the two, and I'd say he's more explosive. As far as pure punching power, yes, Blachowicz has the edge. As far as pure kicking power, I'd actually say it's competitive, but Blachowicz places his shots better than Rakic. He's more accurate. Granted, I think Rakic over the 5 rounds with more of a managed pace, using the footwork, the speed, getting in and out of distance well, should be on point. And I actually see Rakic winning a decision, especially at the Apex. If it is in front of 25,000 people at a pay-per-view event, it's on the main card, there's a ton of people, there's screams, there's roars, I think Rakic fights crazier, and there's definitely a live chance for Jan by KO. But at the Apex, I see calm Rakic getting a decision. Doesn't mean Jan won't win rounds, but let's look at the wrestling. How does it match up? I think Rakic defends pretty much all of the takedowns Jan would throw at him. I could see Rakic landing a couple of takedowns on Jan. Rakic is not incredible with his offensive wrestling, and he doesn't have great top control, but he could land takedowns that gather points. He doesn't have the jiu-jitsu of Glover, where I see him choking Jan Blachowicz out, but definitely on the feet, Rakic can land good punches, stun Jan, make him a little bit hesitant to try to enter that range, and I think Aleksandar Rakic gets a win. I'm saying patient Rakic win, unanimous decision here over the full 5. You look at the odds, Jan is the slight dog at plus 145, Rakic the minus 145 favorite. I got Aleksandar Rakic for the win. I'm going decision. I think it's going to be a pretty entertaining, striking chess match between the two. If you like technical striking, I think this is definitely the fight for you. I'm super excited for it. Overall, the card is pretty solid when you really dig into it. I think we're going to have a lot of entertaining fights, a night packed of finishes. Definitely one I'm looking forward to. Tune into the Fight Companion live because I'll be live for that whole card. So I'm looking forward to Saturday. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the breakdown. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. If you don't have anything to say, but you enjoy the content, drop a W in the chat to help pump the algorithm for your boy. Much love, my people. Make sure to smash the likes. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Keep it locked in here at MMA Experts. I'm posting videos pretty much every day of the week. Turn the post notifications on and share the video as well. Much love, guys, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.